Welcome to the verdant expanse of the Amazon rainforest. In this tutorial, I shall guide you in the art of constructing vast forests from naught but the bare earth. Embark with me on this grand endeavor as we forge a jungle anew from its very foundations.
Welcome once again to my third tutorial on this channel. This time, I will show you how to create a jungle rainforest in Planet Zoo. Let's get right into it. As always, we start off by creating chunks of forests, which we can then replicate to create a large area. I personally like to use the grid system to outline my chunk. You can then texture the ground with a dirt-like substance and remove the guidelines. This is where your creativity comes to life. I've selected a biome to filter the assets. In this case, filter based on the South American theme, so you are only presented with the trees that would be in a rainforest. The key here is to start with the trees and work your way down to smaller objects. Place everything in the chunk and make sure that it is filled to the brim with trees, foliage, grass, and even rocks or fallen trees. Now the reason I've added 2 additional squares is that I want to make some slight variations of our chunk to add more variety to our final forest. You can completely start from scratch or just add and delete some trees. Before we assemble our forest, we need to outline how big and where exactly we want our forest. Just as with the squares, we want to give the forest a soil ground. Do this by painting a large portion of the map. I then started to draw out a river, but later decided to remove the outline. The next step is to create a larger chunk of forest. To do this, select your chunk and make a 3x3 square. I then delete some random chunks in the square and replace them with the additional chunks that we made. To really get the feeling that it isn't repetitive, rotate the chunks randomly with the angle snap feature. To further move the new 3x3 chunk, you need to merge the chunks into one big new chunk. But you cannot duplicate, move, or even delete more than 5,000 assets at once. So make sure that you don't group these chunks unless it's less than 5,000. It's now time to start assembling your forest. Make sure to rotate the chunks once in a while. After placing all the chunks, you now have a large forest. But it does lack a bit of realism, so let's add the river. Select all of the chunks and split all groups, which will give you individual trees and foliage again. Now, with the Select Drag tool from a top-down view, select the area you want the river to be in. Like I said before, the pros of building a forest like this are that you can remove assets rather than place them, and it will still look amazing. After deleting your selection, you are now left with the perfect path for a river. Start by lowering the ground to the height of your river. Then fill the river and delete any foliage that is still hovering midair. The next part is working on the riverbank. I wanted to create a rocky bank that stretched across the river. And similarly to the chunks, I've made one longer part with all the rocks, foliage, and even water lilies, so I can then duplicate it along the river's edge. You can leave holes here and there for animals to enter the water if you'd like. There was still some empty space between the forest and the riverbank, so I filled it with some giant rhubarb plants. They often grow naturally in places like the banks of rivers, where there is still some sunlight and enough water to grow. I then deleted some excess water lilies, and the banks were done. After that, I changed the river's water to be more realistic. And lastly, I deleted some of the trees in the middle to create a clearing. I added some last-minute palm trees that would normally not grow in an overgrown rainforest, but only in more clear and sunny areas. And that's it, your own rainforest, complete with the Amazon River. I really hope you've liked the video, and please let me know what you'd like to see next.